Court gives Nnamdi Kanu 24 hours to defend terrorism charges against him. Good day, my dear listeners. Thanks for joining. Here is the fresh details that brings to your listening ears. As court gives the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, 24 hours to defend terrorism charges against him. Moving on to the full details, kindly please ensure you like, subscribe to this channel and share. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Biafra nation agitator Nnamdi Kanu to open his defense on October 20 following the terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. Justice James Omotosho ruled that the defense must be opened without fail on Friday, October 24, or Kanu would be deemed to have waived the opportunity provided to him by law. The judge's decision followed Kanu's insistence on defending himself in the trial while requesting a 3-month adjournment. At this point, the judge reminded him that an accelerated trial scheduled had already been set and still subsisted, meaning a long adjournment could not be granted. Kanu, however, continued to challenge the jurisdiction of the court to proceed with the trial. The judge reminded him that the issue of jurisdiction had already been resolved against him. Justice Omotosho pleaded with Kanu to see reason and allow proceedings to move forward, but the defendant insisted that they should not. Kanu stated, going forward, I am making an oral application challenging the jurisdiction of the court to try him. On the face of the records before this court, there are 4 jurisdictional defects in the matter. The federal government is in contempt of the Court of Appeal. I have been discharged by the appeal court, but I remained in detention for 14 months. A contemnor cannot come to the court to seek any remedy because he who goes to qualify must appear with clean hands. The act on which I am being tried has been repealed and therefore I could not be tried on a repealed act. The prosecution had denied me proper consultation with my lawyers for the almost 5 years I had been held in custody. If not for your mercy, my Lord, to grant us 3 hours to hold conference in this courtroom, I would have been compelled to enter my defense in a capital offense without proper consultation with my lawyers. The medical report on which this court relied to declare me fit to stand trial was forged. The report was dated 23 September, even though the court gave the order on 26 September. Kanu further argued that no blood or urine samples had been taken from him to conduct any test, rendering the medical report fabricated. Based on these claims, he asked the court to terminate the matter immediately if possible. Responding, counsel to the federal government, Adedboyega Womolu-san, said that Kanu's statements were not based on any recognized court procedure and amounted merely to entertaining the court. In his ruling, Justice Omotosho said all preliminary objections would not be entertained at this stage, and the court's order stood. The defendant must put in his defense. The judge noted that most of Kanu's arguments had been raised before but is not foreclosed from addressing them again in his final written submissions. At this point, one of the senior advocates present in court, Dr. Onyechilekpe, has requested permission to address the court, not as Kanu's lawyer, but as a friend of the court. The senior lawyer appealed for an adjournment, even if only until October 24, to allow Kanu to gather his thoughts and begin his defense. Justice Omotosho responded that it was for Kanu himself to make such an application, as he is now defending himself. I appeal to the defendant to make use of the opportunity given to him to enter his defense or waive it if he wishes, he said. In response, Kanu said he had not had enough time to prepare his defense, particularly given the capital nature of the trial, and that he also needed time to assemble the witnesses he had listed. Ultimately, Justice Omotosho ordered that Kanu must open his defense without fail on October 24. So my dear listeners, now have come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by the comment section and let us know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.